Spear Goblins and Nerf Miner video, 2019. Back in 2019, Supercell dropped a balance change so ridiculous that thousands of players actually believed it was real. On March 29th, they announced a balance change going live April 1st. They said Spear Goblins were getting buffed with a 4th Goblin. But this wasn't just any extra troop. This 4th Goblin literally spun out like the log spell, dealing area damage and knocking back enemies. The in-game animation showed it rolling across the arena like an actual log, clearing out swarms and pushing back troops. It looked completely legit because Supercell made a full professional animation for it. They really committed to the bit. Players saw the official announcement in the news tab, so it seemed totally real. The animation was actually well done. But wait, it gets better. At the exact same time, Supercell released a video called Nerf Miner that dramatically defended why Miner was totally balanced. The video was claiming Miner could one-shot tanks and princess towers, which is obviously impossible unless you're playing a completely different game. They exaggerated every single community complaint about the card. People were always crying about Miner being too cheap, complaining that Miner cycle decks dominated everywhere. Miner poison decks were actually everywhere at the time, so the video was basically pouring gasoline on an already burning fire. Obviously none of this was real. Some people were actually defending the changes like, yeah, this makes sense. Others were calling it game breaking, and nobody could tell if it was a joke or serious until April 1st hit. Peak chaos. But that's nothing compared to what they did to an entire game mode in 2018. Barrel and Touchdown is back. 2018. In 2018, things got extra sneaky. Just a week before April Fools, Supercell had announced the Barbarian Barrel, a real card set to release in early April, so everyone was already hyped for new cards. Then on April 1st, Supercell announced another card, just called the Barrel, and when players clicked to see gameplay, they got hit with the oldest internet troll in history. Common cards matter because everyone can get them easily, so the hype was real. There was a gameplay preview link right there in the announcement, and thousands of players clicked it at the same time wanting to see what this card did. Spoiler alert, it wasn't a card. The link took them straight to Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up music video. Classic Rick Roll, the most ancient troll in internet history. People got absolutely clowned, and it became an instant meme. But Supercell wasn't done. They went for the double tap. At the exact same time, they launched a free challenge called Touchdown is Back. It showed up in the party tab looking all innocent and normal. The structure was an endless gauntlet where you needed 12 consecutive wins to escape. No loss limit mentioned at first, so people assumed it was the standard 3-loss format where you get kicked after 3 losses. The reward preview just showed one Larry emote, literally the single skeleton. Players started grinding thinking there had to be something good at the end because why else would it be this hard? Here's the kicker. The reward card names for each win progressively spelled out April Fools letter by letter. People were grinding for hours in touchdown mode, which everyone already hated, just to spell out a joke with their time. It was basically grand challenges, but instead of getting rewards, you get disrespected. The Rick Roll got spammed in every Reddit post and clan chat for weeks. The touchdown challenge actually made people legitimately angry because they wasted real hours on it. Some absolute warriors actually completed all 12 wins just to see what happens, and the answer was a whole lot of nothing. It perfectly highlighted how grindy and unrewarding the challenge system felt. Supercell was basically roasting their own event structure and laughing at players for falling for it. And if you think wasting a few hours is cruel, wait until you hear about the quests they dropped during the pandemic. April Special Quest 2020. In 2020, while everyone was locked down at home during the pandemic, Supercell decided to give players quests that were literally mathematically impossible to complete. Real sympathetic timing there. A special quest tab appeared on April 1st with challenges that had a 2-day time limit. Everyone was stuck inside with theoretically more time to play, so Supercell saw an opportunity to mess Pekka with people. The requirements were absolutely unhinged. Deal 1,000 damage within 1v1 ladder battles, win 100 matches using the heal spell, play Goblin Cage 1,000 times. These weren't just hard, they were the gaming equivalent of asking you to count every grain of sand on a beach. Let's do the math real quick. The Pekka quest would need roughly 200 plus matches with perfect damage every single game. No breaks. The heal spell quest meant 100 wins in 48 hours, so 50 wins per day, multiple wins per hour, non-stop for 2 days straight without sleeping. You'd need to be a literal robot or extremely unemployed. The Goblin Cage one required 1,000 placements in 2 days, so you'd have to play it every 3 minutes for 48 hours straight. Again, robot territory. The rewards made it even more insulting. Complete these nightmarish challenges, and you'd get one epic wildcard, 2,000 gold, or 10 gems. One epic wildcard is normally decent, but definitely not worth selling your soul for 48 hours. 2,000 gold barely upgrades one card at mid-level. 10 gems is literally less than $1 and can't even buy you a continue in most challenges. This all dropped at the perfect time because Supercell was deleting the heal spell from the game entirely, replacing it with Heal Spirit, which is way weaker. So the quest was basically saying, hey, win 100 matches with the worst card in the game that we're about to remove, good luck loser. Absolute menace behavior. The timing was chef's kiss because progression in arenas like Spooky Town was brutal, king level walls were everywhere, and the season system had just dropped with heavy emphasis on Pass Royale and King Tower levels. Free-to-play players were struggling hard. The entire community instantly recognized it as an April Fool's joke. But this one hit different because it was way too accurate. Players were pointing out that these impossible quests weren't even that far from actual daily quest difficulty. Supercell accidentally roasted their own progression system so hard they might have needed burn treatment. Reddit was filled with this, but unironically, comments and genuine frustration about the free-to-play grind. Some players even said they wish the quests were real just to have something to do during lockdown, which is honestly sad when you think about it. When your fake impossible quests sound more interesting than your real game, maybe there's a problem. But at least those quests were optional. In 2023, they made the tutorial boss literally unbeatable. Trainer Cheddar buff, 2023. Imagine going back to the tutorial and the first boss you ever fought suddenly had more health than an entire ladder match combined. Training camp is where everyone starts. The baby zone for learning basics. Trainer Cheddar is the basic AI opponent that teaches you how the game works, normally easier to beat than a bot with unplugged controllers. His tower usually has standard HP around 4,000. On April 1st, 2023, Supercell decided to turn him into a raid boss. Cheddar's tower HP jumped to over 14,000 overnight. Standard ladder matches have both towers combined at around 8,000 HP total. Cheddar's single tower had nearly double that. Absolute unit energy. But Supercell wasn't satisfied with just giving him more HP. All his cards were suddenly playing at level 18. The maximum level in the normal game is level 15. Level 18 doesn't even exist for regular players, it only existed in this mode, like some forbidden developer console command. His troops tanked way more damage, dealt insane damage, and survived interactions they absolutely shouldn't. Mega Knights specifically became unkillable monsters that soaked infinite damage and kept counter-pushing forever. Every time you defended, it immediately became his attack. Zero chill whatsoever. Beating this version of Cheddar required completely rebuilding your entire strategy around chip damage. You had to spell Cycle, repeatedly hitting his tower with spells over and over like you're playing whack-a-mole with rockets. Elixir management had to be frame perfect because wasting a single elixir meant instant death. People were pulling out Expo 2.9 cycle decks, which are siege decks that shoot towers from across the arena with super low elixir costs for fast cycling. Matches were lasting over 6 minutes of perfectly executed gameplay. One mistake and you're getting 3 crowned by level 18 Mega Knights. Fun times, here's the best part. 0 rewards for winning, no gold, no cards, no gems, no emotes, literally nothing. Just pure bragging rights and the satisfaction of beating an AI that shouldn't exist. The community went absolutely feral for it anyway. Reddit and TikTok exploded with victory clips. Players were treating Trainer Cheddar like he was some Dark Souls secret boss, recording all their attempts and celebrating wins like they just won a world championship. It became a legitimate flex in the community. If you beat level 18 Cheddar, you earned respect. This was Supercell straight up mocking their own king level progression system and all the paywalls around evolutions and champions. Players sometimes spend thousands of dollars maxing accounts. The King Tower level grind takes months or years of daily grinding. Level 18. Cheddar was basically a pay-to-win simulator turned into a boss fight, except you can't actually pay to win against him. The community loved it despite getting nothing. Or maybe because of it. The challenge itself was more rewarding than the actual reward system, which is genuinely backwards when you think about it. Peak game design. That one was hard, but at least you could see your enemy. The next prank made them completely invisible. Totally normal. Game mode. 2021. In 2021, Supercell launched a challenge called Totally Normal. Game mode. Spoiler alert, it was not normal at all. Shocking, I know. This showed up under the party tab as a 7-win challenge with magic items as rewards, which are valuable progression stuff everyone wants. The name literally said totally normal game mode in the most suspicious way possible. That's like someone saying, "Trust me, bro," before doing something incredibly untrustworthy. Players queued up expecting regular matches. Instead, they got jump scared by endless invisible Larry skeletons that nobody could see. Not just one or two invisible troops, but constant spawning throughout entire matches. Larry is normally the weakest troop in the game, the single skeleton that dies if you breathe on it too hard. But these Ghost Larry versions phased through everything like they were visiting from another dimension. They ignored all troops and went straight for towers, dealing chip damage completely undetected. Imagine getting 3 crowned by enemies you literally can't see. Nightmare fuel. The only counters were splash effects that triggered on spawn. Electro Wizard spawns with chain lightning. Ice Wizard spawns with slow effects. You could throw prediction fireballs and logs at empty space and pray you hit something. Buildings could pull invisible troops away, but normal troops just stood there looking confused because they can't target ghosts. The meta became completely unhinged. Strategy turned into paranoid spell cycling at empty arenas. You're watching your tower take damage and just guessing where invisible skeletons are based on health ticks. Spending 4 elixir fireballs hoping to hit 1 elixir skeletons you can't even see. Elixir economy went out the window. You're constantly rotating buildings and throwing spells randomly like you're playing pin the tail on the donkey, except the donkey is invisible and actively trying to destroy your towers. Peak psychological warfare. This mode completely flipped normal Clash Royale gameplay. Reactive defense became useless. You had to predict everything and play on pure instinct and paranoia. The community called it one of the most memorable party modes ever. The unique stealth mechanic never appeared before or since. This was also when evolutions were dropping, so it felt like Supercell testing weird experimental mechanics. Turns out invisible troops that ignore everything are pretty memorable. Who knew? Invisible troops are wild, but in 2022 they broke something way more fundamental than vision. They broke math. Random Elixir mode, sarcastically called Totally Balanced Game Mode, 2022. Supercell looked at elixir costs, the literal foundation of the entire game, and said, let's make this completely random. Every card's elixir cost got randomized between 1 and 9 every time you drew it. Every cycle back to your hand, the cost changed again. Total RNG chaos. You could get a 1 elixir Mega Knight that normally costs 7 and just spam heavy tanks until your opponent uninstalls. Or you could draw a 9 elixir skeleton card that normally costs 1 and just stare at it like, what am I supposed to do with this? Deck building became a suggestion rather than a strategy. The examples got more absurd. 1 elixir fireball that normally costs 4 meant infinite spell cycling on towers. Just throw spells until the tower dies. Simple. 9 elixir zap that normally costs 2 meant you're holding a dead card that costs more than most win conditions. The randomness was pure slot machine energy. Matches became luck-based coin flips. Zero skill expression. Players were spamming 1 cost cards in both lanes, creating these massive blob pushes with like 5 troops dropped simultaneously. If RNG blessed you, you could overcycle win conditions for a 1 or a 2 elixir and just end the game. If RNG hated you, your entire hand would brick with all 8 or 9 elixir cards, and you literally can't play anything. Just sitting there watching your opponent win because the game decided you don't get to participate. Very cool and balanced. Strategy was deleted from existence. Can't plan pushes, can't calculate trades, can't predict opponent plays. Elixir advantage, the most important concept in Clash Royale, became meaningless. Defense was impossible because you never knew what your opponent could suddenly afford. Every match outcome was determined by who got luckier with RNG rolls. Peak competitive integrity. The community loved it as maximum meme chaos. It was a vacation from serious ladder grinding and trophy anxiety. No tilt factor either because losses felt random instead of personal failures. Can't get mad at yourself when the game literally randomizes everything. Reddit and Discord flooded with screenshots of someone playing 3 Mega Knights at once, or someone's hand being all 9 elixir bricks. Pure content. This mode proved elixir economy is the entire foundation of the game. Without predictable costs, Clash Royale becomes a slot machine at a gas station. All strategy, skill expression, and deck building depends on knowing what cards cost. Every balanced discussion centers on whether a card's elixir cost matches its value. But despite removing all skill, the community wanted more modes like this. Turns out chaos is more fun than competitive stress. Influenced all future party mode designs. Sometimes breaking the game is the best content. RNG modes are hilarious, but nothing hyped the community harder than fake leaks about new content. Sneak peek. The future of clan battles, 2017. Back in 2017, Supercell posted a single image that made everyone think clan battles were about to get absolutely massive. The official Twitter dropped this sneak peek showing King Towers with unreleased troops chilling next to them like they were about to drop the hottest album of the year. First unreleased card was Elixir Golem, this weird blobby 1 elixir win condition with the craziest mechanic ever. When it dies, it splits into two 1 elixir golemites. Those die and split into one 3 elixir blob. The math meant killing it actually gives your opponent elixir back, which is completely backwards and insane. Second unreleased card was Bear Trap, a defensive trap building that would immobilize attackers. Sounds cool, except it got scrapped forever and never made it to the game. RIP Bear Trap, gone but not forgotten. The caption teased expansion of 2v2 into 3v3, 4v4, or even bigger modes. The visual showed multiple king towers implying absolutely massive arenas for giant team battles. Everyone's brains exploded. Community reaction was instant nuclear hype. Forums went completely feral. Reddit, official forums, Discord servers, everyone losing their minds simultaneously. YouTube exploded with coverage. Radical Rash made a video modeling Elixir Golem in matches. Creators were theory crafting how splitting mechanics would work in cycle decks. Forums flooded with questions. How much does Bear Trap cost? Will 3v3 have bigger arenas? How does Elixir generation work with more players? How many towers? The speculation was endless. There was massive hunger for social features because 2v2 had just launched and became the most popular casual mode instantly. Clan wars were heating up with intense rivalries, but party finding was frustrating with coordination issues. This tease seemed like the perfect solution. Built-in larger team modes for full clan participation. Hype reached absolute maximum levels. Everyone expected announcements in the next update. Plot twist time. 3v3 and 4v4 never happened. Completely fake, total bait. Bear Trap got scrapped into the void, never released. But Elixir Golem actually dropped in 2019, 2 full years later. Real release had exact stats from the image. 1 elixir, splits into 2 golemites, then 1 blob, perfectly accurate. And it immediately broke cycle deck meta on release. Dominated ladder so hard Supercell had to nerf it repeatedly over months. The April Fool's joke from 2017 was actually a real development preview for one of the most meta-defining cards ever. Supercell was sitting on it for 2 years. Wild. And speaking of predicting the future, the 2024 prank basically leaked an entire update 5 months early. Mega Knight Evolution Takeover 2024. In 2024, Supercell released a cinematic trailer for a Mega Knight Evolution so broken it made the entire community have an existential crisis. This was full movie quality production on Twitter, showing a Mega Knight Evolution with abilities straight out of a fever dream. Ability 1, infinite spawn range anywhere on the arena instantly. Ability 2, mid-air jumps to dodge swarms indefinitely. Ability 3, one-shot insta-kills on all tanks and heavies. Cards like PEKKA and Golem that normally counter Mega Knight just get deleted instantly. Ability 4, 0 elixir cost for infinite spam. Ability 5 jumps directly onto Princess Towers and King Towers, bypassing all ground defenses. Ability 6, Dragon Breath that spawns mini knights, so flying splash damage plus ground troop spawns. Absolutely unhinged. The trailer also said evolutions would only come to top 15 meta cards. Underused cards like Royal Hogs would never get evolutions. Strong cards getting stronger, while weak cards stay weak forever. The community went into full panic mode. Competitive players were terrified of unbeatable air dominance. Forums flooded with "game will die if this is real" posts. People threatening to quit, genuine fear, and chaos. Supercell really sold the bit. But here's where it gets interesting. September 14th, the real Mega Knight Evolution dropped. Didn't have all those nightmare abilities, but it had jump spawns that deploy with damage automatically, and night barrages that spawn mini knights during attacks. Not as broken as the fake version, but still extremely strong. The meta impact was massive, completely reshaped splash-heavy archetypes, legendary arena immediately filled with Mega Knight Evolution decks. CRL Worlds 2024, the professional tournament, was dominated by it. Pro players building entire strategies around or against it became the centerpiece of competitive meta. Supercell had to nerf it multiple times because it was too strong. Supercell used April Fools as stealth marketing genius. The fake version was so exaggerated that the real version seemed reasonable by comparison. Community expected nothing after April Fools, so the actual evolution was a surprise. Real version still became S tier and dominated for months. They trolled everyone while building hype and softening backlash simultaneously. Players were like, at least it's not as bad as April Fool's version, even though it was still overpowered. Marketing on another level. At least that gave us something real. The next one was just straight up calling players out. Code of Kindness Southreich 2025. This year, Supercell decided to roast the most toxic part of Clash Royale, which is the players themselves. Brutal honesty. On April 1st, 2025, players logged in and got smacked with a pop-up titled Code of Kindness in the most mock-serious tone possible. The design looked exactly like a Terms of Service agreement, super official looking. required your signature and you couldn't dismiss it without agreeing. Very ominous energy. 3 main pledges. 1. No emote spam to taunt defeated opponents. 2. No rage spam during overtime. 3. No bullying in chat. Bottom of the pop-up threatened permanent bans for violations. The ban threat felt real because Supercell actually does ban for severe toxicity, so people genuinely didn't know if this was serious. This pop-up directly roasted the latter environment's legendary toxicity. Everyone knows about emote spam. Get 3 crowned and your opponent hits you with sarcastic nice emotes. Make a mistake and get skull emoji spammed. They're winning and spam crying emotes. Successful defense gets laughing emotes. Disconnect and get king. Laughing spam. It's pure psychological warfare designed to tilt you into uninstalling. Emote spam directly causes rage quits. Community constantly complains and files toxicity reports, but the system feels useless. Here's the irony. Tied to the code of kindness, Supercell gifted everyone a free nope emote showing a dismissive hand wave. Redeemable through News tab, everyone got it free. So they're supposedly addressing toxicity by giving players another emote to be toxic with. Galaxy brain move. Community immediately started using nope for BM. Became an instant toxic behavior staple. Chef's kiss irony. The code of kindness exposed how aware Supercell is of their toxicity problem, but instead of fixing it, they just roasted it and gave everyone more tools to be toxic. Most Supercell thing ever. Just deflect with humor. Community turned it into instant memes. Screenshots of people signing the code, then immediately BMing opponents with the new nope emote. Peak content. It sparked debates too. Some players said emotes are part of the game, deal with it. Others wanted better mute options or emote limits. Discourse about whether emotes are competitive mind games or just disrespect ultimately revealed nothing would change. Toxicity remains core to Clash Royale's identity. Supercell knows it and isn't planning to fix it, just joke about it once a year. Yeah, honestly fair. But before all these modern pranks, the very first April Fools set the chaos standard. Balance changes to Tombstone, Mortar, and Expo 2016. Just 1 month after Clash Royale launched globally, Supercell handed top YouTubers a secret developer build that completely broke reality. March 2016, game was brand new, meta was still being figured out. Supercell gave exclusive access to top creators with absurd balance reworks that would never hit live servers. This was the OG chaos. First rework was Tombstone. Normal version spawns weak, 1 HP skeletons that die instantly. Rework diversion spawned giant skeletons, which are high HP tanks carrying bombs that explode on death. But it gets crazier. When the giant skeletons died and dropped bombs, the explosions spawned more giant skeletons. Endless chain reaction filling the entire arena. Tombstone became a giant skeleton factory with no off switch. Second rework was Mortar. Normal Mortar fires explosive shells at buildings. Reworked Mortar fired goblin barrels over walls. At the time, goblin barrels did impact damage when they landed, so this was even more devastating. Reworked Mortar turned every shot into a direct tower dive with both impact damage and goblin spawns, bypassing all ground defenses automatically. Zero counterplay. Third rework was Expo, and this was pure evil. Normal Expo shoots enemy towers and troops from your side. Reworked Expo gained friendly fire and auto-targeted your own towers and troops. Targeting completely reversed. They made it indestructible to balance it, but indestructible friendly fire means guaranteed self-destruction. Can't remove it, can't stop it, just murders your own team. Self 3 crown speedrun any percent. YouTubers like Chief Pat and Ash posted videos showing this build, complete chaos. Expo destroying players' own king towers, tombstones filling arenas with giant skeleton armies, mortars firing constant goblin barrels at towers. Videos went viral immediately, millions of views in days. Game was in early hype phase, so this boosted community engagement massively. Helped establish Clash Royale's YouTube presence, OG content creators getting fed. This prank happened when the game was brand new and the meta was forming. No established archetypes yet. Balance was experimental with frequent changes, showed the community how crucial balance is. Real-time strategy games live or die on balance. Small changes create massive meta shifts. Set the tone for Supercell's balance philosophy forever. The YouTuber partnerships gave creators insane engagement and grew the game's audience exponentially. First April Fools set the standard all future pranks follow. Started the tradition of April 1st community engagement. Every year since, players expect something, and Supercell delivers. Legacy established. If you want more Clash Royale content, check out the video on screen right now.